What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today I'm going to be talking about CalKnives 2023 and what I picked up at the show. This is a local show to me down in Brea, California, actually a little bit closer to CCKS, which I did a video on a couple weeks back, and so super local, but also a really small, more intimate show. It focuses on custom makers a little bit more so, where CCKS had a decent amount of production companies from like ProTech, Artisan Cutlery, Riot, Monterey Bay Knives, Hinderer, probably a few others that I'm forgetting, Tracker Dan, High-Techs. And so had a few bigger makers there. This one's really focused on custom makers as well as kind of local people. So ProTech was there because they're right down the street, but I think that's really the only super large company that was there. Other than that, there was mostly kind of, again, locals and smaller makers. But really good opportunity for me to catch up with people I've met in the past, meet people at new tables, and so was able to catch up with Ryan over at Armor. Met him 4 or 5 times now at this point, so always good to see him. Did a short after CCKS of his table, and the stock was super limited compared to that because he hasn't been able to restock since the shows are only 2 weeks apart. I think by the time I left the show, which was around 12:30, so 2.5 hours after it opened, he was down to 3 or 4 knives, so almost sold out. He had mentioned he's gonna do Blade Show Texas, and he's hopefully be fully restocked by then, but it does take him, I think he said around 10 days to make each knife, and so it takes him a while to build up that inventory between shows. Also met up with Angler Knives, the couple that runs that. They're great people. Met them last year at CalKnives, so it was good to reconnect with them. Terrain 365, who I just met at CCKS a couple weeks back, and some other smaller makers that I met for the first time, which was great. I met up with a guy at a shop that's right down the street from me that I didn't know existed, so that's really cool. Gonna check out his shop in the next couple of weeks once I replenish my funds. But really just a great show, super intimate. Like I said, it was pretty busy by the time I left. It kind of ebbed and flowed. So in the beginning, people were waiting in line. They had specific knives that they were looking for, wanted the show exclusive at ProTech, or just excited to be there. And then it died down a little bit. And then within about an hour and a half after opening, it really started to get busy. So people who were just kind of showing up throughout the day showed up, and it was super busy, which was surprising. I would expect it to be a little bit busier in the beginning, but definitely felt busier by the time I was leaving, which was interesting. But they do also some kind of demonstrations, which are really cool. So they do forging, engraving, and grinding, and they do them a couple times a day. I wasn't able to make them, unfortunately. I think the first one I was walking around and still looking at booth, and by the time the second ones rolled around, I was already gone because I had other obligations in the afternoon. So stuck around for about 2.5 hours, and then also just met some random people in walking around, followed him on Instagram, and just made that connection, which was cool. Met up with Vu Pham sort of intentionally. I knew he was going, but he was only going for a short while on his lunch break so that he can pick up the show exclusive Malibu, which was beautiful. I didn't end up grabbing it because I tried to pick up models that I don't already have over variations of knives that I do, and so it looked amazing, and better than pictures. It was red handle, black blade, and the red really popped. I did take a short video, so I'll probably post that as a short in the next day or two, but really, really great and looked amazing. So he was going to grab that. I ended up grabbing a couple different knives, but we waited in line at ProTech together and outside, so I was able to chat with him for 20-30 minutes before he had to get back to work. But gonna go over what I picked up. I guess I should also mention they also had a lot of supplies, so not just handle material and steels and stuff like that, but they also had some kind of knife making supplies, so like grinders and stuff like that at one of the booths. So that was kind of cool to see. Would have loved to see them in action and get a little bit more information about that, but didn't really have a chance to chat with them. But gonna jump into what I picked up. Definitely a more limited haul than CCKS because it was 2 weeks after CCKS and really haven't had time to replenish my knife budget. This is already probably the most expensive month of knives for me ever. And so I kind of added to that, but really lightly. I only went with 2 knives instead of what I wanted to, which was a lot more. There were a lot of really great knives there. And so I'll start with the shirt. The California Knife Makers Association, you might have seen the letter, and I was rambling on for a while there, so if you want to read the letter, feel free to rewind and read through it, but I'm not going to read it on the video. But picked up this shirt that was the logo is designed by one of the founders of CalKnives, which again you'll see in the letter. But great looking shirt. It has a larger logo on the back in color, front pocket shirt, and really trying to expand my EDC shirts because I'm planning on doing a little bit more content in front of the camera, where as of right now everything's tabletop, but want to start doing some lives and maybe some interviews and stuff like that. And so figured might as well get some shirts to represent the EDC community a little bit more than my regular wardrobe. Have a few, but why not grab a few more? This one was only 15 bucks and supports the California Knife Makers Association, which does the show but also meets regularly. These guys are giving each other advice and really just kind of an association for local makers. And so they're not just the show. The show is just kind of the most visible thing that they do, but they do meet up on a monthly basis. The other shirt that I picked up is going to be a little bit of foreshadowing for the rest of the video, was from CalKnives. This is a really simple shirt. It has the logo on the front left chest area, pocket area, and a larger centered logo on the back. But simple shirt, but only 20 bucks, so I figured might as well pick it up as well. And they had a bunch of these. And then grabbed a little bit of swag from there before I get into the knives that I picked up. First, the keychain, ProTech, with the quality, craftsmanship, and integrity on the back. Got a coin at the last show, so it was cool that they had a little bit of different swag. They didn't have this at the last show, and they didn't have the coin at this show, at least as far as I know. Maybe if you asked, but I didn't see any there. Also grabbed some stickers, all of models of ProTech that I have, and so got the logo sticker as well as one of each model. I was kind of hoping to grab a few more in case I do like giveaways to throw in swag packs and stuff like that, but me and Vu were probably like 6th and 7th in line, and by then the stickers were already running out. I think there was one that was already gone, and they had a stack of them, but it felt kind of like I should only grab one and leave some just to be considerate to the people in line behind me that probably also want stickers, and so I only grabbed one of each. But really cool. I always love getting stickers of models of knives that I have, and so that was fun. And kind of goes along with that keychain. So not quite as much swag as last time. There weren't a lot of like free stickers and patches and stuff like there were at CCKS. Again, because this is a lot of smaller makers, so they don't have necessarily. There was some selling like patches, hats, and shirts that I didn't pick up, but tried to pick up at least a couple. And so on to the knives. This knife was, the first knife was one that was at CCKS, and I was kicking myself for not picking it up. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the video, but if they had it, I was gonna grab it. If they didn't, I was gonna grab that Malibu show exclusive that I mentioned. They did have it, so I picked it up, and that's the Rockeye operator. So if you don't know about their operators, they're just all blacked out. All the hardware, the blades, everything, pocket clip is blacked out with the tritium insert in the button. So they've done the Malibu, they've done this, they've done a few different models in the operator series. This is the first one I've been able to pick up, but really wanted to pick one of these up. I think it was relatively affordable, and part of that's the D2 blade, but I think maybe 220 or so, if I remember correctly. I'll try and get the correct price. I have a receipt somewhere from them, so I'll try and get the correct prices on these when I do the full-length video, which will probably be about a month, because none of these are like time pressing. I like to get a little bit more time handling them if there's not a reason to put out the video sooner. Sometimes, like if I know the knife's gonna sell out, or for like the Corgi last week, or the last video, that was a pre-order, and so sometimes I do try and put them out pretty quickly, but if there's nothing pressing, I do like to wait. So this will probably be out in about a month if you're wanting to see a video on that one. I have a lot more to kind of do before then, including the CCKS stuff a few weeks back that I haven't done yet. So the next knife that I picked up was one I wasn't really planning, but it was just kind of a charming knife is how I would describe it, and that's the PT Plus. This is a collaboration between ProTech and Strider. I don't have any Strider knives, so mixed Strider design. Really, really great. And they made some improvements, I guess, from the initial model, mainly focused around the size. It's a little bit larger, still a really compact and small knife, but a little bit larger to accommodate a larger button, larger spring, so it's a little bit more snappy. And both are really snappy, actually. This one obviously is a much larger knife, so there's a real kind of kick behind it, but with these smaller knives you tend to feel it a little bit more because there's less to hold on to, and they squeezed a pretty good spring in here anyway, and so it definitely feels a little bit like a harder kick than the larger knives. And so this is bigger than the Rent, but not significantly so. Still not California legal, but Really just, like I said, a charming knife. I didn't plan on picking it up, but I got it in hand, extremely comfortable. You have that sharpening choil as well as a kind of half finger choil here, and that works really well for choking up behind there. You don't feel like you're gonna slip onto the blade. And this one's in Magna Cut as well, so I think this one was around $330 maybe. So a little bit more expensive than the Rocca, but super cool pickup. And like I said, I don't have any Strider knives, so this was kind of a nice entry into that for me, and just a fun one that I really enjoyed. This one obviously is also not legal, and I got it kind of with the intent to replace my nightstand knife, which is currently the Benchmade Mini Adamas. Both of these have this really aggressive jimping, by the way, which works really well as well. But the Benchmade Mini Adamas is currently my nightstand knife. Thought this one would be a better one because it's larger, it's automatic, and has that tritium insert so you can see it in the dark. Obviously, if I'm hearing a noise and going to investigate something, I'd probably grab something a little bit louder than this, but still like to have something sharp nearby. Never know when you're gonna need a knife, and not necessarily for self-defense or anything like that, but if I need to open a package that for whatever reason I took to the bedroom, or just cut a tag off a new, sure, it's just nice to have a knife in the room. So most of my knives actually don't live in my room. They live in a cabinet in my office, but always like to have one reach. So that's kind of the intent behind this one. Even though it's not legal, it should still get a decent amount of use. And this one might sneak its way into my pocket every once in a while. Again, not necessarily legal in California, but don't really, get pulled over or searched too often. It's been quite a long time. So that was everything that I picked up. Really excited about them. 2 models from ProTech that I don't have. ProTech's definitely one of my favorite brands, if not my favorite. It's definitely in the top 2 or 3 for me as far as kind of production knives go. I haven't really delved that deeply into the custom world. And so that's one thing that I'd like to do maybe at the next CalKnives Expo in a year, just because they're really focused on those custom makers and I don't get a lot of exposure to them. It's a little bit more expensive, which is why I kind of stay away from it. But had I not picked up 2 ProTechs, I could have picked up a $500 custom. So the temptation's there with those production companies being there, but I would like to explore that custom side of the world a little bit more, but also try to stay away from spending more than $500 or $600 on a knife at this point. It's slowly creeping up and trying to avoid letting it go too high, but at the same time, I'm forming these kind of relationships, meeting them at show after show and just talking to them at their booth and never buying anything. Even though I'm kind of admiring them from afar, I would like to get more into that and hopefully share more of that on the channel as well. So that's kind of the goal for, I guess, next year. As far as next shows go, it will probably be Blade Show Atlanta. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm thinking about buying tickets because they just released and have the early bird ticket available right now. So I'll probably buy the tickets and then decide a little bit later. And if I don't go, I don't know if they're transferable, but I'll figure it out. But really would like to go as long as the plans allow it. I think it's in the beginning of June, so I have a few months to plan. I'd love to make Texas too, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to swing that one. Have a couple things coming up, including people coming to town and just random stuff. So don't think I'm going to be able to make that one, but really hoping to make it to Atlanta, and hopefully we'll be able to meet more people there. That's one of my favorite things about these shows, both local shows. I've been able to meet up with people that I was planning to, and then also met people that I wasn't planning to, and just kind of share the same passion for knives and EDC gear that I do. Have new Facebook friends, new people that I talk to because of it, and so really just enjoy that aspect of the show. So a bigger show like Blade Show would be really amazing to get to, and so hopefully this is a year, we'll see. But let me know what you think of this haul. If you made it to CalKnives, what you picked up. Definitely connected with a couple people also that I didn't meet at the show, but found out we're at the show after, and so that's always nice as well. One other thing was they were doing a competition for ProTech because Dave and Matt were both at the New York Custom Knife Show. So they sent, Jennifer and Kevin were there, but they also sent a cardboard cutout of Dave and Matt, and they were doing a kind of hashtag ProTech Twins. So I posted that on Instagram if you're interested in checking that out. But they're giving away the Malibu operator, which is really cool, and I don't know how they're choosing it. So if you're on Instagram, definitely go on, check out the picture, comment in the comments tagging ProTech and saying, I don't know, this is the one, or whatever you want to say, honestly. But it would be really cool to win that. There haven't been a ton of entries on Instagram. I don't know if it's also going on in the Facebook group. We'll have to check. I did see that ProTech Dave's mom was there, which was really cool. I think she took a picture with the cardboard cutout and posted it to the Facebook group. I saw her at the show as well. Didn't know it was his mom at the time, of course, but that was kind of cool. But all in all, fun show. Really excited to check them out again next year. Always enjoy this one just because it's so local to me, and again, a little bit more of an intimate environment, which is fun as well. But thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.